Welcome to the July 27th, 2021 meeting of the FileMaker Kentuckiana FileMaker Developers Group. We meet every month at this time, fourth Tuesday at 12:30 Eastern. Today we have Christian Schmitz, who some people think he doesn't need an introduction, but he has been around for 20 years, and he's had this plugin that we all use for the last 13, and he's going to tell us some cool new stuff or some stuff that he thinks is interesting that it will do, and show it to us. So Christian is coming to us from a mountaintop lair in Austria at the moment. He's from Germany. Nickenich. Is that how you pronounce it? Nickenich? Nickenich, Germany. So he's coming to us from Austria on his vacation. He's sharing some of his vacation time with us, and we really appreciate it. Thank you, Christian, and take it away. I'm gonna, I should probably say that you can share your screen. All right, you should be able to request to share your screen.
Yes, thank you.
There we go. Thank you, Christian.
Thank you. We talked about what I should show with the plugin, but the plugin has really a lot of features. And I can tell you usually that over half of the functions are there because someone requested them, or even someone paid for them. And we just add what people are asking for. And I really need a few thousand functions, so everyone finds his handful of functions to use. So everyone is just using a few functions, but I don't know which ones. So I have to provide a lot of functions for people to find the things they like. So, and we thought about showing you maybe something about drag and drop. So let's just take this and see. Yeah, opens. So this is an example database we include with the plugin. And usually you know that you can just drop in files. Let me find a few files here, like let's take an HTML file that you can usually in FileMaker drop a file on a container to import it into the container. But sometimes you may need to take, let's say, 5 files and drop them on FileMaker and import all the 5 files. Yeah. How do we do that? So let's go to the script workspace. And here we have a script to set up our drop. So let me just disable it and show you the layout. So on the layout, there's this box. This is just a rectangle here. Here drawing a rectangle. And we put the rectangle here, and I put in a little picture on the filling. So I see on the layout something, because this is a dummy control in FileMaker, which we use for doing our drag and drop area. And this rectangle got a name. We named it drop. So you can refer to it in the script later. And FileMaker just has this control on the layout, and you can put it wherever you like. You can use here the logs to position it on the page. And let's exit the layout. And so it looks like this. This is a grayed out version of the picture. So we see it's disabled, but we have the actual picture we show in a container. And here's the script. So we first let FileMaker build the layout. So we make a little pause there. Then we create a drop view with a control. So we tell which FileMaker window to use, what's the name of the control. The plugin will ask FileMaker where the control is. And so the plugin can put its control on top of the placeholder here. Then we tell things we are interested in getting for a drop, like files. we define the script to be called, and we define a cursor to show, like with a little plus here. And if we have a container with a picture, we can show the picture. So let's just run this again. And you see now we have the picture of the active drop control. And by the way, if you have any questions, please feel free to stop me. Otherwise, I will just talk here to the computer. So when you get a drop, this script starts. So we don't do the import right away. You can decide what you want to do. So we first get a script parameter, which is the ID for our drop view. And because each drop area here has its own internal ID, we can have several drop areas on a layout. We can even put them on a popover, if you like, or on a card window. And be sure that if you go to a layout, you can set up the drop view. And when you leave the layout or close the popover, be sure to clean up and free the drop area. So we ask the drop, what types of data do we have? So we can check what's in the drop. For example, there may be a text coming or a list of file paths. And if we have file paths, we can go through the list and get the path for each file we got dropped. And then we can use here, for example, our files read file function to read it. Or you could also use here the normal import file script step if you like. But for that, you have to convert the path to FileMaker style. The plugin always uses the native style for the platform. So we import the files you dropped here, and then we commit a record for each file, and you get here a nice list of files. This example also has a little interesting addition for emails. So if you drag an email file, we would use our email parser functions to actually get the attachments out of the email file and also create them as records here. Back to our drag action, we go down. So there's a loop going till we have all the files imported. And then there's another thing here, and it's file descriptors. That's something you get on Windows only. So if the user drags attachments from Outlook directly into FileMaker, you would get file descriptors because you don't get actually files. You get just the promise to deliver a file later. So you would get a file descriptor count for your attachments. Then you would again loop over those and then ask the plugin for each file descriptor. What's the name, what's the size, path, data, whatever the application can deliver, which started the drag. And when we query here data for the file descriptor, the application where the drag started will actually provide the data. So this will ask Outlook to transfer the attachment to FileMaker. And if we got a path, we can just read the file. And if it provides us the data directly as a container value, we can store it again in a record. And now you can also drag text. So we can get a block of text dragged and receive it and put it in our text field, as well as HTML dragged or RTF dragged. And we can get that. Just take here and just drag some text on it. So you see we got here text from text edit, we got HTML, and we got RTF. Any questions for that? If anyone has questions, please unmute.
Yeah, I'm trying to hit the unmute button. I'm sorry. So I noticed that the RTF is encoded. So that's what the raw RTF looks like.
Yes, this is. Just let me go here, plugins. So we have text functions, text there, and let me search for RTF. So there's RTF to text. So this is a function.
So you would throw that on there to convert it to something readable.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. So just drop it here. So now we do our drop again. And now our RTF here is,
Oh,
you
cool.
don't see it's RTF. Let's make this bold. Drop it again. And now you see it's the bold survived.
Okay. So it's rich text, but it's
Yeah.
rich text that's readable.
Yeah, that's rich
Yeah.
text file format. So we use RTF on several places, for example, for putting style text on the clipboard. And so we have a couple of functions for that.
Nice.
And that's the good thing with the plugin, because you see here already, we are not just having a plugin for drag and drop. We also use other functions here, like a function to work with file path here to get the file name, a function to work with reading a container file, like this is reading a file, which also works on server side. And we also use here the email parser functions to parse an email, which we built for our email receiving examples. But we can now also use it for accepting emails here as for drag and drop.
Now this is on the way in. This isn't building an email. This is just parsing an email.
Yeah, this is
Okay.
taking the attachments from an email you dropped here.
Okay.
So it's something I added for a client on request. So
Nice.
So we have a fairly new thing where you can just make the whole window dropable. So let me just show that. Let's go on the documentation to topics, drag drop, and there's attach to window function. And that's something I made for our people which use Windows. Let's just put in a 0. 0 is the current window. So I now quit here the existing one, and I use the new script to set up. Sorry, if you use the whole window, we don't put it in picture. Okay, so the whole window is now the drop area, and I can just drop anywhere in the window. And whenever I drop something, let me just clear it, delete all records. So I drop again the text, and you see we get 3 new records, and now I can just throw stuff wherever I want in the window. And this works nice on Mac and Windows, and well, people love it.
Yeah, that's really nice.
Just you can just make a window in FileMaker and say drop anything here to import.
Yeah, I've had people ask me, "Hey, can I archive my emails?" And now I know how. That's cool.
So this is drag and drop. If there are no questions about that, can I see the chat somewhere? I don't know. Yeah, chat. No question.
Yeah,
Okay,
nobody's asking any questions yet.
Okay, so let's go to another topic. We talked about SQL functions. So, and we have SQL to other databases. And that's something people like to use. For example, you may have, let's say, a web shop. Your web shop uses a MySQL database, and you need to transfer data from the web shop to your FileMaker to get the new orders in, or maybe transfer the status of the orders back to the server.
Now, you said web shop or workshop?
A web shop.
Web shop. Okay, so like a shopping cart online. Yeah. Okay.
On your website.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm not sure if you can use WebDirect for a web shop, but usually you install some existing software, and I just want to show you how you can make a connection to a SQL database externally. And this is not using the built-in ESS from FileMaker, but we script here with a plugin. And let me just see here. I think we have the list. Yeah, so you can connect to kubesql, SQL-based, DB2, Firebird, Informix, Interbase, MariaDB, Microsoft Access, SQL Server, MySQL, with ODBC to everything else, or Oracle, PostgreSQL, SQL Anywhere, SQLite, SQL Cypher, and Sybase. And those are using native drivers here, so directly to MariaDB without ODBC.
So you don't have to set up an ODBC source.
Exactly.
All
plugin,
the drivers are included in the plugin.
No, of course not. This would be too big.
Okay, but so how does it communicate with those then?
Yeah, let's go. So
I'm sorry.
You can use the ODBC features. You can just say go through a data source. You can also say use ODBC and you specify all the details in your connection string, so you don't need to create the data source upfront. And if you use one of the others here, you would go through a native driver. So we will show you here MySQL. So we create a new connection and we pass here a file path where the plugin finds the MySQL client library.
Okay.
So like here, lib MySQL client 18 dialib. And we have those on our website in the download area. Just look for them. So I have a collection of libraries here. So we have here MariaDB several versions, MySQL several versions, PostgreSQL several versions, which are most used. If something is missing, let me know. But usually you could also just go to the MySQL website and download their C connector and get the dialib. Or if you use the FileMaker server on Ubuntu, just install the package there. So we usually connect through the native client library or ODBC. And this line here is to show you how we tell the plugin, for this connection, you find the MySQL libraries here. And this is a field on the layout where we have a native file path to dialib. And you could just have this dialib or whatever DLL for Windows in a container field. You could write it to a temp folder, or you could just put it in the same folder as the plugin and use it. If you like, you can set a few more options for the database connection. Those depend on the on the database type. So let's see here, set connection option. Of course, I just put them on the documentation. So if you need some options, you can set here the libraries or the library path. Or here for MySQL, you can, for example, set timeouts for reading, writing, so you don't block the connection forever. We can here, for example, set the SSL connection servers, or we can, here's this ODBC timeout, and I have a couple of more options listed here. So
we have one participant that asked about DB2. He's got a need for DB2.
Yeah.
Does that work similarly?
Yeah, this works similar. So let me just look here for DB2. So for DB2, you would set, you would tell the plugin where the DB2 library is. And then you would connect. So let's see the connect method. And the most difficult thing on connecting to a database is to actually get this connection string correct. So tell where we can find the database. So here's an example for DB2. There's a connection string, which is here, this bold block, where you tell the server IP and port number, the name of the database, username, password, schema name, and of course on the end the type of database. So this is DB2. Here's an example for Informix, and as you see, MySQL server, Sybase. We have here examples for a lot of database connections. People ask it all the time, and I'm always happy to add a new example code here for the database you need.
I'll also
So
say that Christian is really good with customer support too. So if you have a question, he responds really quickly.
yeah, well, I'm a full-time plugin developer. The other plugins are usually site, well, so we tell the plugin here explicitly that we want to have MySQL, and we tell the connection string here and username, password, and so let's look. So we have fields here for username, password, where you would put in the username, password, and the SQL connection string. So if you like to change this all for DB2, you would have to change here 2-3 lines. Set a different library path to your DB2 library, set maybe a different option, and put in your connection string for DB2. And then you should be able to connect and get an OK back here. And once you have the OK, you can do a SQL command. This creates a prepared statement. Like this is a simple query here, select star from standard from a table name. With a limit here, but you could also just say something like put in a parameter if you like, where let's say city is, and now we put in a named parameter like this is double column city, and if I want to use that parameter, I would fill it with one of our set parameter fields. Let me see, set param. So set param as text, for example, I would copy that and would say here, our SQL command has a parameter called city. And maybe for that, I put in a variable city from FileMaker. This way, yeah, you see our little variable check here just determined that there is no city defined. So now it's happy.
That's cool.
So the plugin can check for variable names on macOS and the script workspace if you enable it. So we would now do a query here with SQL, find some records. Then we would execute this query. This may give us OK if everything is working, or the database may return error. And then we may check how many fields do we have, fetch the first record. And this example just puts in the records all as text by asking the field name and the field as text here, and then the field name, and puts it on text line, so we would see the actual results. And because I don't have a MySQL database with me, I'm not showing this example running, but if you have a question now, I could maybe answer it. Oh, thank you, very helpful. Yeah, welcome.
Now, you brought up a point about the plugin doing things actually in the script editor. All this coloration and everything. The plugin is more than just functions. It actually changes the way FileMaker works in many cases. So can you talk about that?
Yes. There was a lovely conference 2012 in Salzburg, and in the evening we sit together with a lot of FileMaker developers, and they told me that there are a couple of things they would love to have in FileMaker, but Claris didn't do them, like adding some color to the scripts. Nowadays we have that, so FileMaker did do that one, like you can set some preferences here. But our plugin does have its own system here to colorize. Like if I make a set variable line without something, it shows here in orange. Also a set field without something shows in orange. So we have rules to say if there is nothing here, it gets a different color than if it's filled. And we have a long rule set for that, which actually comes here in an example database. That's here a syntax colorizer from Russell Watson. He made this extensive list here of all the syntax rules. So this includes rules in several languages. I currently have here
Oh,
German and English text showing, and you can pick the color you want. So if you have exit loop, if without an expression, it's orange. And if you have some expression inside, it's blue. And then we have here different colors for different commands. Just go down. So we have, if you have a line containing the text obsolete, it will turn red, as well as if there's a fix me command. Or so here you can have different comments starting with different tags to color the lines, to do bug. If there is a table missing or field missing in the line, it will show us red, so you spot the error more easily. You can also here give calculations some colors. So we have the wrong bracket color in red, so you spot where your brackets are incorrect. You can give every function you like a special color. And the usual idea is you can have a generic function color, and you can have a correct spelled function colors. And this way you can see when your function is not correctly spelled. You can do your own rules if you like. So there is somewhere a generic function color. There, no, function color, yeah. So this is the color of a function, and if you type the function name correctly, it will turn black.
nice.
Well, this is a rule set. You can edit it, you can apply it, and the plugin comes with a default rule set.
And Jonathan,
Yes.
Christian hasn't really been tooting his own horn here. These functions for the script editor are actually free. You don't have to buy the plugin to take advantage of these unless something's changed. And also, I think this only works on Mac. Is that correct?
Yes,
Yeah.
only for Mac. Well, in all the years, I haven't got it to work anything on Windows. I'm sorry.
Don't apologize. All the developers who know what they're doing use Macs.
Yeah. Yeah. And some may have bought a Mac because of the
It's a
plugin.
fairly radical statement to make, and it's not true at all.
Oh, I was just being hyperbolic. Come on, Stephen. I prefer Mac for things like that, you know, especially since now I'm battling with a Windows update that broke all the PDFs for a client. So no problem with Windows.
Okay, so I made this feature, and early on we decided to include them as freebies in the plugin, so you can just use them. And we appreciate if you buy a license, even as you don't need to for that, but some people just like to tip. Okay.
Yeah, I think I got like 4 or 5, three or 4 anyway, licenses for you. A lot of my clients use it.
Yeah, so let's go back to seeing something here like the SQL. So with SQLite, we can have a local database, and we can actually try those functions. So let's see. We make a new database connection to SQLite. We use our built-in SQLite library. Otherwise, we would load a specific library built on a file path here. We connect to the SQLite library, and then let's see, when we export records. So we export records. We create a SQL inlet command. Here you see we have the field names in our target database. We have the name of the target table, and we have here numbered placeholders for our values, and then we fill them here with value from fields in FileMaker. Then we execute it, and then commit it, so we get our records exported to the foreign database. And this is actually not the newest way we have, because we later added easy functions for you. Let me see. So this is to Now where is it? Here, something like this. So we can actually make a SQL select in a FileMaker table and then push the result of that directly into the foreign database. So instead of writing a loop ourselves here, no, that's not a loop, but to go record by record here and push each record over, we can just have a function here, insert records to SQL, which will send all the records in the selected in the result set here to the other table. So you can, in a few lines, you can move data from FileMaker to MySQL. And now let me show you the import. This is doing a select statement, executing it, then fetching the records until we have no more. And then we get each field as text, as date, as float, well, as number with decimal point, or as a roll number. And we put it in fields so we can import a record. And if you do that within FileMaker, no, this is the one. We can use here the other one in the records. So you can make a SQL statement on your MySQL database, get some records, and then use here the SQL insert record functions to push them into your FileMaker database. So you can either use go record by record and use individual functions for that. And over the years, we also came up with other functions like using JSON there. Oh, where's my? So we have here JSON. So you can get all the fields as one JSON block and then use that with whatever you need, like JavaScript, or you can set the parameters with JSON. So if you got a block of JSON with your values, you can also put that in the current parameters and then send it to the execute it to send it to the server. And if you code this for a few of your tables on your server, you can easily write code which sends data to a foreign server. Well, without using ESS or ODBC, and you can use direct connections with our plugin. And you can access databases which may not have a connectivity with FileMaker built in. Yeah, and if you like, you can also call stored procedures. Any questions on that?
So that looks more flexible than the actual drivers. Isn't it? Don't you deal with more databases than they do?
Yeah, we can do a lot of databases.
Okay.
And we can do it in code. So you could have fields where the user would enter his information. And then you could connect on runtime, and you can actually have like you could have a preference pane where you let the user put in his login data for the MySQL or PostgreSQL database, and they can even choose which type of database, and you include the DLLs and the plugins folder maybe. And then the user can maybe click a button where you would make a test connection and then look if you can see the tables, like make a select for one record and see if it succeeds. So you know you have the permissions to go to that table. And then you could do import export by script at any time if needed. Yeah.
So
and
this works entirely without having a data connection in place. You could do this stuff on the fly.
Yeah, this is completely independent of what FileMaker has built in for external databases.
Nice. That's powerful.
Okay, so.
Any questions? All right. Not a lot. Not all of us work with SQL, but Some of us do. You have
That's
some
my-
some cool barcode functions, don't you?
Yeah.
Did you want to
Yeah, I can
show those
you.
off?
I just look for my phone. My phone is away. Okay, we have barcode functions, just like this here. So we have functions to create barcodes, give you a picture, or to draw the barcode in a PDF file as vector graphics. So I can just put in some text here, change the number, and yeah, you see the number changes and also the checksum code on the end changes. So the plugin will do the checksum for you. If you ask here for UPC, let's see, you can also do ENX code 39 and oh yeah, we made this picture here. The plugin supports over 80 barcode types to create, and we have 30 types listed here on this sheet. So if you need any one of those, you can just use our plugin. And this is done. Yes?
No, I was going to ask a question, but I answered it. Never mind.
Okay, so this is done by a library in C, so it's usually faster than doing it in a calculation in FileMaker directly, or and it gives you a picture, which often is better to print than having something running in a web viewer. So you can just put in some text for here for QR code, and this will auto-size the QR code based on how much content you have. So if I type more here, the barcode should get bigger at some point.
Well, the dots get smaller, don't they?
Yeah, the dots get smaller. Yeah, the container scales down.
But since it's a vector graphic, you can then take it and place it somewhere and resize it any way you want.
This is output to a picture.
Oh, okay.
The vector graphic requires that you output it to a PDF. Like this example, this is a PDF graphic, so I can just export this. And well, how do I prove that it's not a picture? That it's vector graphics. Well, I can go in a lot and
nice.
Yeah, well, we always have this problem that people create barcodes with low resolution, then print them, and the scanner doesn't like it. But this is vector graphics, and here for the text, I can even select the text. Yeah.
Well, and you said that uses all C.
This is a C library, yes.
Yeah.
So it's fast, but of course that's the difference, because some people try to do barcodes in calculations in FileMaker, which takes a little bit longer. So if you not sure if you have that in the US, but in Europe, we have payments codes. So you put in the information for a payment, like here the recipient, the bank account number, the amount, into a barcode, and then someone can scan that for the to pay. So you have an online banking app. You just scan the barcode, and it will autofill your transaction, so you can easily pay something. And you can generate those codes here. This is the EPC example, but you can do this kind of barcodes for different countries. Like the Swiss people like to have a barcode with a Swiss cross in the middle. And I think for PayPal, you can also make QR codes. So
neat. Now, but this stuff requires the plugin. So for mobile transactions, could you have it run on the server and send the graphic back?
Yes, we have this little example. Let's see, example block. It's on the guides page. So we have here a lot of a collection of links for blog articles. So, and we have here create barcodes on server from FileMaker Go. Because you don't have the plugin on FileMaker Go, you could have a script to create your barcode, and this script would then detect that the plugin is not available. Let's see. So the plugin looks here for the plugin version. No, the script looks for the plugin version. If there is no version function, no MBS function, we would use a perform script on server to send this barcode request to the server. And on the server, then create the barcode. In this case, we use JSON for passing in the specification of the barcode and also returning the picture embedded in a JSON block here with base64 encoding. Let's see. Here we do our testing. So we create a new JSON element with symbology is QR code, some text and some parameter like scale. And then we run the script. And if that script is running on FileMaker Go, it would then ask the server to do the work. Otherwise, it would do it locally if the plugin is available. And if that succeeds, it just decodes the barcode from the JSON.
And that can work as a picture or as a PDF as well, right?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
So
yeah, that's nice. And so that would also work in WebDirect then as well, where you can.
well, on WebDirect, you can of course just install the plugin.
But on the server.
Yes, on the server.
Yeah.
Let me just see. We have this decision. No, decision here. So the people ask always which license they need. So on WebDirect, you can just install the plugin. On this is the old picture. This is the old picture. Strange. So there should be a new. So data API plugins are now supported in 19.3. So
Okay.
this is the wrong picture.
Oh yeah, but 19.3 has just been out for a few weeks.
Yeah. So on WebDirect, scheduled scripts and custom web publishing, you can install the plugin and use it directly on the server. Otherwise, with FileMaker Go, you would use perform script on server. And for data API, you used to use perform script on server, but now you can also directly use the plugin on the server. Okay, let's go to another topic. Let's say you like to have a menu.
Ah, yeah. So this is part of the stuff where I was talking about how, in addition to adding functions, it also changes the way that FileMaker works.
So this is a menu in which you show by script at any time you like on your layouts. This example shows a menu. When we click the button here, at the position of the mouse. And it fills things by the script. So you can decide which menu commands to show. It's all up to you. You can even use a plugin to detect if the mouse click is left button or right button. So you can maybe have a default action, and if the user uses the right click, you can have a menu showing up. You can decide in your script which items to show, what gets a check mark, what gets bold or colored. You can add submenus if you like. And if you click something, you can get the ID of the menu item you clicked, or you can even attach a script directly to a menu command. So we call the script for you. Let me just show you how we do this here. So we have code to build it, and this is a little bit long because it just tries all the options. Like you create a menu and you can have several menus in memory. You can create the menu at start and keep it and reuse it, or you can make a new one each time. You can create menu items, and then you can add those items to the menu. you can enable or disable things. You can set an action there. You can put in a picture on the, you can create separators. You can add tooltips. You can change the font. You can define a key equivalent. So when I show you this, I can press Command-Shift-T to select this one here. So people can use so you could even have a script triggered by a keystroke, show the menu, and then the user could select the choice with a key. You can use style text for your titles. Also, this is, I think, Mac only, and this one is Mac only. But state and other things are also available on Windows. So we have different decoration here, bullet diamonds. We can make it bold or italic, underline, change the font size. And here we even create, create a submenu. So we create another menu and put this menu as a submenu for one of the items. So it shows a submenu. If you think this is too complicated, there are two other ways, like you can just define a menu as text, and the plugin can show it, or you can define a menu as XML. So like here, you have examples for XML. Like here, this is quite using a lot of options, and I can show it. And if I click the Shift key and show it again, you see it shows here this menu entry, which only shows if you press the Shift key, as well as one which only shows with the Control key. So you can have a lot of options included and also change the menu depending on some keys pressed. Now, once you have your menu built in one of those ways, you can just call the menu pop-up function, pass in the menu you like, and this defines where it shows. Let me just go to the, so yeah, how can I put this bar away? So menu pop-up, pop-up, oh yeah. So yeah, so I can position the menu on the mouse position, but also I can just have a menu show anywhere on the screen. So I can have a fixed position or relative to the window. Can path X and Y coordinates relative to this position. And I can also show to highlight a specific item there. And yeah, if I make it relative to an object, I can also have it open next to one of the controls. And the result I get back is usually whether an item was selected or not. And then I can also query which item was selected if I need to, or just I have scripts attached anyway. So any questions for the menus?
Now, how does that coordinate with, does that have any interference with FileMaker's menu system? Or is this, it looks kind of like
FileMaker's menu system is here, the top menu bar, isn't it?
So this is totally independent from FileMaker menus.
This is
Okay.
a context menu.
Okay.
We also have menu bar functions here, which allow you to check if a certain menu item is there. If it's checked, you can list all the menu commands in FileMaker. You can have the plugin run a menu command. And you can even change the text of it. So like here, if you don't like to have it named Quit FileMaker Pro, you can change it to quit your app name. So you can make changes to the menu, in addition to using a custom menu, of course. And running a menu command can be very helpful because we have done that before. Let's see. So we can define F5 as a hotkey to run a menu command by ID. And in this case, it's the one to create a snapshot link. But we can also use here one to use, this is a view menu and the format bar, or have here switch to layout mode by script. So we have a few functions to work with the menu within FileMaker. And I think one of the most popular things to script the menu is to trigger here database design report automatically with our plugin. But for that, we have an extra command.
So you could do it by script.
Yes, let me just database design report. So we have a FM run database design report function where you can tell whether you want to XML and you can specify a path. The path is for macOS only, but on Windows, you would just use the path you used the last time. And you can specify which items to use on Mac. And we have used that in the past to convert, to automatically make database design reports at a regular time for several solutions automatically.
Is it as a development logging?
Yes, you can, for example, make a DDR automatically every midnight for your solution if you like. So you could keep them on GitHub, maybe in a repository, and then compare all your changes over time.
That would be handy.
Yeah, well, still handy, but eventually I think FileMaker will do this with save as XML script step. So you would get the same thing.
To just set a timer on it.
Yeah, well, you just
Schedule.
need to have a script running at a certain time of the day, which, by the way, would be, we have some schedule function. Oops, not screenshot, schedule. So you could have the plugin run something at a specific time of the day, like here, start script at time. So you could tell the plugin to run a script at a certain time. Or in this case, maybe better the evaluate a time, because the evaluate doesn't need to have a script, so you can just give an expression and run it. Let's see, after delay. Yeah, here we have some examples also. So for example, this can be a script which runs after a short delay after 0.1 seconds, and then runs a menu command to show the script workspace. But we could run any menu command you like by name or by ID. Where's my phone? Be right back.
You found it. I was going to say somebody should call him so he can find his phone.
I got it. So for showing the next thing, I got my phone here. No. So if you don't have questions for that, I mean, you can ask me anything here. I would like to show you continuity camera.
Ah.
And I hope it works. Because this
Now
depends on some setup.
And this is also Mac only, right?
Yeah, this is a thing Apple made. So let's see, I can just take a picture from outside and let's see. Yeah, click use it. And there it is.
Ooh, nice.
So I know the question is, can I show you how this works? So let's open Quicktime Player. Let's make a new recording. And hey, there's me again. And oh, I have to connect the phone. So does it notice? Yeah, my phone. This is strange. Let's try again. Oh, there. There we go. So do we see the screen? Yeah, we see a screen. So I click on import picture. And here you see my view of the phone. And there I click the button, of course, on the phone. Yeah, and this is a button for use this picture, and this is one for another picture. So I click on the right one, and I get the picture here. This is, I think, the best I can show you. You saw that? I mean,
Nice.
so
Like if you were doing
is,
ID tags, you could take a picture of somebody and have them be imported right into the system, right? And print out a tag almost immediately.
Yeah, the idea is that you can use a nearby iOS device from the same iCloud account. So like your user has a computer and he has a phone nearby or an iPad, and they can just use the camera there to take a picture or scan a document. And as you see here, when I click the menu, I can even add a sketch. Okay. So this is new. I haven't seen that before. But you can take a picture or scan a document with either an iPad or an iPhone. And this will just, and now I need a document. I don't have a document, but I can maybe use this one here. So okay, it didn't work. I need a real paper for that. But so when you hold it over a piece of paper, it would show you, it would detect the paper and then rectify it so it looks correct, and then import it as a PDF document. Also, right. You should just try the example and see if it works for you. What happens now with when I take the sketch? Oh, I can draw something on the oh yeah, that works. So I would encourage you to just install the MBS plugin and then take this example file here and see what you get if you just use it on your phone. It's a very nice feature for your Mac users, and you could just have a button next to a container control where you would have a button to maybe show this pop-up menu for continuity camera. Yeah. Any questions for that?
Now, since that's a plug-in function, that's not something that you can do on an iPhone or an iPad in FileMaker Go. That requires a desktop computer with a plugin installed to get that to work.
Yeah, this is something Apple offers as an operation system feature, and we actually have this functionality for iOS in the plugin too. So there's a document camera scan feature, and we have an image picture control, which also takes a picture. But that's something you only get if you use the iOS SDK from FileMaker to make your own app for iOS.
Oh, okay.
And then you can use this to scan documents, for example. Also on iOS, you can then use our, what was it? Let me do a quick look. Now, quick look, iOS, this one. Oh, that's just showing it. Now, what is it? Annotate. Annotate. Markup. It's markup. Okay. So you can actually on iOS show a document and have the user write something here with a pen on it, or draw something on your PDF page and then get it back into FileMaker as a PDF. Or annotate a picture. Like the user can take a picture, can then modify it by writing some text on it, and then store that in your FileMaker database. But that's only a feature you get with the iOS SDK. Of course, Claris could decide to build that into FileMaker Go at any point. But for the time being, you only get it if you use an iOS SDK app and our plugin. Yeah.
Cool. Did you, I have one more question. Did you have something else that you wanted to show off though that you thought was noteworthy?
Well, I can always show you some more of our enhancements. Like, have you recently defined a custom function? Let's say you define a function here. Let's say it's a function test. Oh no, that's a parameter. This is the name. Okay, let's say our function takes parameter A and B. So the function is, let's say, just you concat those. And we have in the plugin here a little field on the bottom where we can execute it and show you the result, or we can check the syntax.
Nice.
And let's say I just make an error. You see all those brackets here get red because, well, they are mistyped. So I can do a syntax check and it will show me right away that something is broken. And executing this doesn't make a lot of sense. Well, if the parameters are not defined, so let's define the parameters. So we use a special command here with 3 slashes and just put some value here. Let's say hello. And here we define B as get, let's say, account name. And now we can execute it. And you see here, hello admin. So you can define a test case here and just run whatever expression you have to get the desired result.
Like very much like a let.
Yeah, well, technically it's a let statement, which is run in the background. So defining A, defining B, and then running this. But if you have to define a custom function, and you may use this more like a debugger, where you would try to adjust your custom function till you get the result you like.
Oh, yeah.
And you can, of course, just have here several set of things, like I could just say here world and execute it. And the plugin takes the last one defined, and I can just put here some extra character to disable it. And because everything here is a command line, FileMaker will ignore it. So we can save this and can come back, and you see here test case for MBS plugin. So you can work on your custom functions, and here those execute and check syntax buttons are on all the calculation dialogues. So let's say I define here a calculated field and have here specify a calculation. I can just here play with all the options and run execute on it. Syntax check. So again here, brackets. Let's say we quote execute, and so I can do things here in this dialog, and without leaving the dialog, I can be happy to, well, make a good calculation.
Is it possible to select a portion of that calculation and have it evaluate, or is it only do the whole thing?
It only does the whole thing.
Okay.
Also, I could implement your little wish if maybe a few more people like to have the same thing, but
well, that's what I use Developer Assistant for. Is
okay.
to suss out partial portions of calculations to see if the value is being built right, in a more complex calculation.
Yeah.
But that would certainly be a quickie right there in the calculation dialog, though.
So any other questions about this? Maybe about the script workspace enhancements or?
I have worked with one of your other products. It's an ancillary product, the Dyna PDF. And can you tell us about that? I mean, you don't have to demo it, but
Well, Dyna PDF is first a C++ PDF library, which can do about anything with a PDF. We wrap this library into our plugin and allow you to load it at runtime. So let me see, we have this little here feature list, so you can see what it can do. It can do a lot of things. So we enable you to use Dyna PDF in your solutions to do things like creating new PDFs, adding vector graphics, images, layers. You can make PDF-A and PDF-X files, work with interactive forms. You can import existing PDF files and, for example, merge them or split them. You can extract the text of them. You can use a lot of different color spaces. You can extract images. You can, if you have form values, you can, of course, read and write them. You can also flatten the form fields. You can optimize PDF files, like make them smaller in file size.
Yeah, I had a client that liked to drop a variety of files, but he needed to show them on the web, so that everything needed to be converted to JPEG.
Yeah, we have the rendering engine for that.
Which
the rendering
would take
engine
it.
Allows.
We used to use the built-in. You had some functions that use the Mac OS.
Kit, yeah.
Yeah, but they stopped working because it broke because of Apple upgrading something and changed something. So the Dyna PDF solved that, and they love the quality of the PDFs or I'm sorry, of the JPEGs that they're getting from the PDFs that they had.
So we still have those functions: PDF, get PDF page image, which gives you the picture of a page in the format you desire. This is using the libraries available on macOS and on iOS. If you needed cross-platform, you would use Dyna PDF. So this would be the render page function, which has a few more options like what to include and what to exclude. The pixel format, so you can even render CMYK pictures if you need. You can have TIFFs with various compressions. You can even have some with alpha channels, like here, a PNG with alpha channel. And this would give you a picture. And usually people like to show the picture of the PDF as a preview, so the user can't directly get the PDF.
Yeah.
Like, FileMaker 19.3 on Windows now downloads the PDF, puts it in the temp folder and loads it. So you can use that. You can also do single page import if you like, split PDF files, yeah. We have search and replace for text.
If it's a text PDF.
Yeah, it must be text. Otherwise, we would extract the text and then extract the image and
OCR it.
Yeah, we have OCR functions for that using the Tesseract engine. Yeah. So you may need to do a workflow where you would say you get a PDF, you analyze it with Dyna PDF by opening it, by asking the plugin, is a page empty? Does it maybe only contain a picture and no text? So you would then do an OCR on the pages, or you would just extract all the text from the pages And otherwise, just put in the pictures. I mean, you can take the text and you can take the pictures, and the picture goes through the OCR.
Yeah.
Let me just show you the PDF library example here. So PDF library, and now I need to import some PDFs. There's one from earlier today. Let's also import some. Here, maybe the one with the license text. Now, this is a database we made as an example. For every PDF page, we create a preview. So here we have a picture of each page rendered with DynaPDF. And because I didn't put in the license key, you see the watermark. We also have here text extracted. And now we have the possibility to do a search here. Let's say we search for Windows. That should be on the maybe search. Yeah. So it finds the text Windows in this file, and now we can open it. And it shows us which pages have the text Windows on them. And it also, if you may see it here, but it highlights the word Windows in yellow. So we can search on a page and highlight it, and you could show it to the users with a color.
Nice.
And this combines probably something like 20 functions in the library.
So you should offer that as a document management system.
There's always a chance you find an example coming with a plugin and just put your name on it and sell it. Yeah. So let's say here we open the PDF, we import the pages, we take metadata from the picture, from the PDF. We take the text for the full text search of the whole document, the page count, and we render a preview. And then we go here, split pages, where we create records for all the pages. And by having a record per page, we can have the text for each page. So this is using FileMaker search. And usually you wouldn't show this, you would just show the picture. And we render a picture for every PDF page, and also store the PDF page as a PDF document in a container here. Yeah. So we have a couple of examples here just for DynaPDF for various things people may do, like add page numbers. So you can merge several documents and then add page numbers, maybe even add an index page to click on. You can convert to PDF-A if you like. You can have PDF with barcodes, again as vector graphics. You can place pages on other pages. You can extract attachments, images, or text. You can fill form fields. You can list what's in the PDF. You can crop a page. Yeah, you can print pages. So you can send a PDF to the printer on Mac and Windows automatically. Or you can, or this example uses Windows scanners. So if you have a flatbed scanner on your Windows machine, this example would take pictures from that and make it a PDF. You can convert style text to a PDF. Oh, where was that? We had a nice new example for that recently. Live style text. So
how does the print to PDF work?
Well, it takes a PDF on Windows. It opens a printer connection. It renders all the pages in the resolution of the printer and then sends them to the printer.
So it doesn't use the printer mechanism in Windows. It deals directly with the printer.
Well, it's using the print spooling on Windows, of course.
Oh, okay.
But we render the pages ourselves and then send a bitmap to the printer.
Okay.
And as we match usually the resolution of the printer, this will be a full resolution. And
so it's a single step or function step or whatever, however you want to.
Yeah, this is we have a print command there. Let me just show you. DynaPDF print. Lot of functions here. So so you pass and you have the PDF loaded. You tell the printer name, maybe the document name for the spooler, some flags like auto rotate, margins if you like. You can optionally show the print dialog for the user to change the options, limit the resolutions, and let's see here an example. So this is an example script. New PDF environment, open the PDF from a container, then import all the pages you need, and then print it. And in this case, it passes just a few flags and the printer name.
So it doesn't have to download it to a temp folder or anything. It just takes it right out of the container.
Yeah.
Now,
all in memory.
if the document or the PDF is stored on server,
FileMaker will do the download.
so we still wait for the download, of course, because it's on the server.
Well, if it's in the local cache already, then we get it right away. But we just here ask FileMaker to provide us the PDF data.
Okay.
And then it's up to FileMaker to look where it's stored and how to fetch it. But it doesn't store it in a temp file.
So that would work whether you had internal or external storage.
Yeah, we usually don't care for that. We just ask FileMaker to give us the container data, and then
Okay.
FileMaker fetches it.
Okay.
And this is DynaPDF is used here on Windows, and for Mac we use the PDFKit print function, which also just sends a PDF to a printer. And you can set a couple of options there, like the printer name and copies and scaling modes and other things. So I wanted to show the live text here. So this is just this is text in FileMaker, and this is a rendered picture in a PDF. And this is just to show you how quick this can be, because I just type something and it takes a fraction of a second till the script triggers to do the update, and it will just make a PDF page with the style text. So you can take whatever style text you have in FileMaker and draw it on a PDF page with DynaPDF.
Nice.
A question for you.
Yes.
I'm assuming the PDF functions here don't include an OCR function to extract text that's displayed basically as a graphic and not underlying text itself. So an image of text. Is there
You can extract the images in the PDF, and then you can use our OCR functions to get the text from the picture.
Nice.
So
Is that in the
I'm not
PDF
sure.
kit, or is that just DynaPDF?
Well, the extracting images here, so extracting images embedded in the PDF is part of the DynaPDF.
Okay, but I mean, but getting the text out of a bitmap PDF, the OCRing, is that part
No,
of
the OCR is here separate function set. So OCR is here. So you would have to initialize OCR. You would have to pass the picture here with one of the functions to the OCR.
Okay.
Like here, taking the picture you have in a variable as a JPEG or PNG. And then you would use here the get text function to get it.
So does that give you just a plain simple text file, or does that
this gives you a text string.
Okay, so it's not like formatted or anything like that?
We also have the possibility to do OCR and then make a PDF back from it.
Right.
That's this example here. Right. So we get here the text positioning and make similar text on the same position.
Okay.
So we overlay the image with the graphics with the actual text. So if this is visible, invisible. So if I now export this document, oh yeah, name is already taken. So I get here a selectable text in the PDF. And I
Okay,
can just
so if
copy
you
it.
if you scanned a letter, it would
and
come out
stick
looking
it.
like a letter.
Oh, I see.
It's not just the raw text.
Letter?
It would come out looking formatted like a letter if you scanned a letter. Say.
Oh, no, this doesn't give you formatted text.
Oh, okay.
But
Oh,
if the
pretty-
engine can do it, we may just add a function for that.
Mhm.
Anyway, if you need that for a customer, let me know. If there's a function missing, we may be just be able to add it.
Okay.
We have a lot of functions here. So any more questions? I have no idea how much time I have.
You can. You've already gone an hour, almost an hour and a half. So I'm sure you're. I know you love this, and you could talk about this all day, right? But I'm going to give you a break. What I wanted to do was talk about the new version of FileMaker too. You did mention FileMaker 19.3.2. Is that the one that you're using now? You said that it allowed something now.
No,
Christian?
that's 19.3.1,
Okay.
which has a data API. Let me just look on my blog
Oh,
post.
that's right. It lets you.
We have a blog post here somewhere about data API. So
It allows the calling of scripts and using functions and scripts now.
in that,
I mean, plugins.
yeah, exactly. There's a lot of stuff here. Data API. So there is a blog post from FileMaker itself. And here, data, this is our one. So 19.3.1, let's do here there's a new checkbox here for data API plugins.
Okay. Well, was it 19.3.2 just dropped last week, and server 19.3.2 is supposed to come out in the next day or so, and I'm not allowed to say that, but oh well. So we're moving on to the next one. I was wondering if anybody's had much of a chance to spend with 19.3.2 that would like to talk about what their experiences with it.
I can address that, but I do have a question for Christian that actually
Okay.
revolves around 19.3.2.
Okay.
I was wondering, is there any issues with M1 Mac compatibility and the Monkeybread software?
No, everything is working fine, and we have been waiting for the release for a long time. Yeah. You may have seen my blog post where I wrote a month ago before FileMaker released it that we are ready.
You said that 12.2, your 12.2 version is M1 capable?
11.2.
11.2. Okay,
Yeah.
11.2. Okay.
So, and the current one is 11.3.
Right.
We just enabled it, a few little fixes here and there, but otherwise Apple made it a very smooth transition.
Cool. So you said is your code then native? Then native for the Apple Silicon?
Yes, of course, must be.
Okay. Okay. Well, you could use their translator, which
no, not
what
just for the
FileMaker was
plugin.
using before.
If FileMaker runs natively, all the plugins have to be native too.
Oh, okay. Right.
That's the MBS plugin is the first one which got M1 support. So, and then a few other followed. But there may be plugins which will never be ported.
It's some of them free ones.
Even a free plugin is usually not really free, but depends on sponsorships.
Right. We all know which one that one is. Well, I really appreciate this, Christian, and we all do.
We had a question from Martin Ramsey.
Did we?
So
Okay.
The custom function enhancements are included for Mac just with the installation of the plugin and are free to use.
Oh, yes. Oh, including the debugger, the evaluate.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay,
sure.
nice.
Well, that was a decision long ago that we don't want to force people to pay for a license for something which depends on hacking into FileMaker. You know, these functions are built in a way that if FileMaker changes something, they will just disappear. So we place our button there, but if FileMaker changes the layout and we don't find the stuff we expect there to be, the function will simply not do anything. So to avoid a crash, of course.
And it's such a game changer. You know, you have that you have that plugin installed. You go back and check some old script that's got several hundred lines of code, and you'll just be so embarrassed by the things that your tool will actually show that you never saw. Little errors, variable naming errors, all kinds of things. And makes you wonder how some of that stuff even worked in the past. So
they've been asking for a variable naming library or whatever, something in the script, in the script editor for many years. People have been asking for that, and they never did it. So we had to rely on Christian to do it for us.
that's right.
So thank you, Christian.
Back to the FileMaker
1932, you said you had some information on that.
Well, a couple of things. 1931, if you installed on an M1 Mac and you hadn't installed Rosetta yet, it would throw up an error when you launched FileMaker, the FileMaker client. To give you a -1 error and then go ahead and open up anyway. That was fixed with with the 1932 release.
Yeah. So the reason is there's a little note app within FileMaker to run this new Quick Start experience. And this application was not ported for the M1 chip already. So it tried to start it with Rosetta, and if you don't have that installed, it would get an error.
So did they make it? They made it native now then?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's now fixed.
Now, one of the issues that I'm seeing, in fact, I've got a brand new M1 iMac sitting on my workbench over here.
Nice.
That we have FileMaker server. It's not the native version yet, but it's 19. But also have the FileMaker client on there for testing purposes, the most released version. One of the things that I noticed, and I think this is a property of M1 Macs and not have anything to do with the FileMaker server, is that self-discovery for localhost is not there. You actually have to type in an IP address if it's within an organization. And it also seems to be the case for doing any kind of file shares. You just don't see the localhost data displayed. It's there, but you have to manually type in the IP number to find it. And I've seen some things on the Apple discussion boards on that, but it seems to carry over to FileMaker server as well.
Is that just
anybody
a
else
bug?
has that same experience?
Is that just a bug on one computer or on every? Maybe it's a Bonjour problem with the networking?
Well, I thought it might be a Bonjour problem, so I looked at it. It's discovering printers on the network. So I know Bonjour is there. But I think it may be a display problem. And in this office that this went to, when we first installed FileMaker 19 on that server, it did not show up in localhost. So I thought, wow, this is some sort of weird network environment. So I took it to my office and actually reformatted this entire iMac, started totally from scratch, 100% pure. I thought it might be something from the migration assistant when I moved from their old server. So I thought I'd just do this as clean as possible, and I still get the same results. Localhost does not seem to work, and I haven't seen anything on the FileMaker discussion boards yet on that, but I have seen the same discussion concerning file shares for M1 Macs do not show up automatically either. So there's something strange going on there.
I found that you mean when you're accessing it from another computer?
Right.
Yeah, I've seen that. But it's interesting. I've got a backups tool that will find it. That it runs every hour, and then that share will show up on my desktop.
Yeah.
Even though you can't see it
That's right.
anywhere, but it will show up.
Yeah. So the shares are there, they're just not visible.
Yeah.
That's the issue, and I think that just might be one of these not quite ready for prime time features that'll show up in another OS update.
Yeah,
I'm guessing.
It's growing pains.
Growing pains. Yeah. The price of being an early adopter.
Yeah, transition. Yeah. My desktop machine is still in Catalina, so we're not talking about early adopters here. I'm not, but I do have my server, my development server is on an M1 iMac. I'm sorry, M1 Mini, and that's where I ran into that.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I can access that server from the machine that I'm on right here. It won't display it, but if I go up there and type in 10.0.1.100, the files will show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So. Any other issues with 19.3 that people run into? I think everybody should install it. They did fix quite a few things. So especially if you're running in Big Sur, the issue is FileMaker 19 doesn't work very well in Big Sur. 18 doesn't work very well. 17 doesn't work at all. So
I have not found that to be the case myself.
Okay.
Yeah, I have Big Sur here, and I have FileMaker 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, all installed.
Running on Big Sur?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I had a client that I was replacing FileMakers, and they didn't work right. So
it's depending
crashing
on
a lot.
So if you use older versions, you may run into a few features being broken, but well, it depends on what you use. Well,
she had a PDF crashing issue on a Big Sur, not a M1, but a Big Sur Mac, and 19.3.1 fixed it, and so I got her on 3.2 now. But for some reason,
so if you get a crash report, if you get a crash report in FileMaker on a macOS, you can always show it around because usually you can read in the lines there which functions are used and cause the crash. And that may be, sometimes you see that it's trying to load a font file, sometimes it's trying to load something on the layout, or sometimes it processes a thumbnail for a picture file. And then you can maybe figure out which layout, which image file is it.
Okay.
That may be a broken one or a broken font file. So we had that with clients, that if you go to a layout, it crashed always when loading a button. So we went to another Mac where it didn't crash, removes the button, make a new one, and that fixed it.
Yeah. Yeah, I've done that before, but this was whenever it went to print a PDF, it tried to render a PDF, and it crashed every time. So
yeah, one of the things I would do to debug that, and I've had these issues in previous to version 19, is look on the PDF for the offending object. It could be a weird logo that's going to show up on every PDF that you generate from every record, or it might be something that's standalone in that individual record that might be causing the problem as well. So by removing those things, you can slowly debug where the problem is. And of course, it could also be corrupted fonts. That
Yeah.
is something.
Yeah, the font sounds better because it's all text. There's no
Right.
graphics or anything on it. It's all generated text from data,
Yeah.
and so it's probably a font. Yeah.
One of the things you can do on a Mac is you can actually open up the font book, and there's some diagnostics that you can use to analyze the fonts on there.
Oh, okay. I'll try
And
that.
on Windows, a common problem that we have is corrupted font caches. And you just typically can either delete those or restart the computer and they go away.
Yeah,
Say
I've
that
had
again.
Pardon?
Pardon, what'd you say on Windows? What
On
part?
Windows, it's typically the font cache that gets
Oh,
corrupted.
yeah.
So,
Yeah, I have a client with Windows is having PDF problems as well, and we did clear the font cache because the font was printing really rough on one computer. We cleared the font cache and it didn't fix it, so there's something else there.
yeah, and one of the other things that will display a bad font cache problem is a Windows user will open up to the FileMaker application. It's just garbage characters just running all through the layouts in the text. It's some mysterious language, and usually just restarting the machine cures that. I don't know if you've seen that before. I've seen it.
Yeah. Yeah, I've seen that. But yeah, most of my support issues are with Windows stuff. Some Macs occasionally. Yeah, like the thing I used to use, the MBS plugin with the PDF kit, because it had a function for converting PDF to various graphics, and it created terrible graphics. I mean, because Apple changed something and it just wouldn't work very well anymore.
Well, yeah, Apple changed over the years a couple of features, and they don't implement all the features of the PDF standard.
Yeah.
So you may always run into some PDFs with color spaces not supported by preview, and then you see something.
So when we switched to PDF Kit, because PDF Kit is DynaPDF is a commercially supported and developed library that Christian uses. So when I switched to that, everything works just hunky-dory. So works great. So
some of the things I've seen that may cause problems with PDFs is if you've got extremely complicated vector graphics that have been placed inside a PDF, and then you've gone in and actually clipped that graphic so it's not displaying all of it within the frame that you have in the PDF, that there's sometimes that can throw a PDF generation into a loop. Mathematics gets complicated when you do clipping. So I think that used to be more of a problem a long time ago when memory was limited, but it shouldn't be as much of an issue now.
Oh yeah. All right. Well, do we have any more questions? Anybody else? I don't see any other questions. Anybody else have anything, or someone want to talk about anything?
I don't know if you mentioned this earlier because I had another phone call before the 10 o'clock started. You talk about pause on error at all?
Yes.
Okay.
You're going.
I am going.
And so am I.
Yeah.
And
I
so
you.
is one of our other guys from Louisville. We're driving down. So I did offer that we can take a couple more people. I also have a room, a cabin with 4 bunks in it, with 2 empty bunks. So if you know anybody that wants a cheap bunk, I mean, like
I will do that. They should have, hopefully they'll have up soon some of the message boards and stuff, so you can actually solicit for that. So
well, if they run out of rooms, then it'll be a premium. Then I'll have to charge more. But but no, I did because I thought we were going to have 3 people, so I got a 4 bunk cabin, and one of them dropped out, so I have 2 bunks available now.
That's good.
So
I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, me too. Who was it? Stephen was telling us that it's probably, he didn't say probably. He said that time of year, it's just as likely to snow as to be nice.
Yeah, I think a summer outing, it's probably not going to be. Just the fact that the sun's going to set early anyway. So,
yeah. Well, but he says it's at 2,500 feet. and it's on the, on the east side of the Appalachians. So anything off the Atlantic
Mhm.
will probably dump on us. So we'll see. It should be an
So just check
adventure.
the weather reports, for that area starting a couple of weeks ahead, and you'll get an idea. It might be 80 degrees, who knows?
Hmm. Good. Mosquitoes.
Yeah, well, hopefully Georgia gets its COVID under control.
Yeah.
So,
All right. Well, then thank you, everybody. We've done most of our 2
Thank you.
hours. So, Christian, that was really awesome. Love your plugin. I think I need to order another couple licenses. I think I got a couple.
Thank
about
you
ready
for
to
having
spare.
me.
So we'll have you back when you got some more things to talk about. We'll look at them again. So catch us next month. We'll send out a notice about what kind of programming we have. That'll be coming out the week before the next meeting. But just stick in your calendar. It's the 4th Thursday of the month at 12:30 Eastern every month, and has been for the last 12 years. 12 years we've been doing every month. I think we missed 1 or 2 meetings in the entire 12 years.
how long have you been doing it?
I was here at the beginning.
So
This guy over here, Brian Ginn,
uh-huh.
he and I, and Byron Songer, who's
Mhm.
no longer a developer but used to be an Apple employee too.
Mhm.
But anyway, the 3 of us founded this group back.
Nice.
We took a road trip to St. Louis to a user group over there,
Mhm.
got ours founded, and then they collapsed and didn't have any more meetings. So we lasted. We've outlasted a few groups. So
Hard to do.
there's a lot of work. This is like the 3rd user group I've been involved in my life, and actually 4th. And
You do a good job.
it's really, really
Yeah.
hard to have something consistent, and takes a while to build a group. And
Well, showing up is the most
Yeah.
important part.
yeah.
So
So anyway.
that being said, with everybody doing Zoom meetings, and we're not needing to be geologically challenged to attend a meeting anymore,
Yeah.
are you contemplating doing in-person meetings? Certainly
Well,
Zoom
we are
meetings.
contemplating it. I'm not sure how that would work. We'd have to figure out the technology of that.
Yeah, how would you do that?
They
I
require
have no idea.
card locations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, this works really smoothly. So we just may have a Louisville only, just a get together sometime.
No, hey, Jonathan, I got it. We just all sit there with our laptops while we're old, we'll all be in the Zoom meeting.
Have you ever been in a Zoom meeting where they do that?
No,
Echoes all over the place. Oh man, and you hear everybody's speakers.
no, I
It's
haven't done that.
nuts.
I'm
It's
teasing. I
nuts.
have no idea how to
Oh,
pull it off.
it can be a real challenge to do a mixed meeting.
Yeah.
With that, because you do run into those sort of problems.
Mhm.
People in the Zoom meeting can't hear the people, that are live, vice versa.
Yeah.
So it becomes a little challenging. My group in Western Washington, I'm sort of debating this right now. I think we'll probably do continuous Zoom meetings, but also try to do some, in-person stuff as well as
Yeah.
a secondary thing.
Meet for dinner every other month or something.
Yeah.
Beer.
There is a desire for people to come together.
Yeah.
That's one of the reasons I'm looking forward to pause. So
Yeah, it's gonna be good to see all those people
Yeah.
again. Yeah, except for you, Mike, of course, but everybody else.
Yeah.
No, Mike's a bud. Mike has a group, as you mentioned. Which day of the month do you meet?
we typically meet on the second Tuesday at 6 p.m. Pacific time.
Just bedtime for us on the East Coast.
Bad time, but I still get people from the East Coast attending right now.
Yeah.
And our subjects are just like yours. They range from people wanting to, like Kristen showing off the plugins, other developers, or people tackling a topic. So I'm not sure what our next meeting is going to be yet. I'm starting to think of things.
Yeah, I make it up as I go along too.
Yeah.
So,
So I'm always so grateful when we can get a plugin developer to just, show stuff, because it takes the load off me having to
Yeah.
do all that serious work.
yeah, I was just thinking the other day, I haven't done a presentation in a long time.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we've had some great speakers.
Mhm.
So Alan, who's hiding his face and his voice, is my co-coordinator, and he handles a lot of the technology of the sending the notices out and registering and all that kind of stuff. So he used to offer the venue, but since we haven't needed a venue, he had a great place with a big screen that we used to get together in. But anyway, but he's tied up with a customer that's got some broken PDF issues today.
Speak of the devil. Yeah.
Well, if we need a venue, we can offer one so everybody can meet together. I think it worked out pretty well here at Cardinal's office. If
Oh, really?
If we want to set something up, let's talk specific. But
Well, yeah,
Thursdays are bad days for us. But I know we usually meet on
did I say
Tuesdays.
Thursday? Did I say Thursday? No, it's the fourth Tuesday.
Yeah, it's Tuesday, so we should be good.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Alan is actually moving out of town, so that venue won't be available anymore anyway. So that's a good idea. So David works for a manufacturing company that uses a lot of FileMaker. So we need to have another demo down there. Show you guys show everybody what you guys do with FileMaker down there in the manufacturing world.
Yeah,
Sounds
that
good.
sounds good.
Hey,
Yeah.
Christian, got to ask a question.
Yeah.
How would you like to present to the Western Washington FileMaker user group?
Well, like this one, maybe?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like I
sure.
said, we meet at 6 p.m. in the evening. I don't know what that translates for your time.
Well,
Pacific
West
Coast.
Coast, that would be 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yikes.
Yeah, he's not very abusive, is he? Yeah.
But if it is possible for me to make an exception on the time, if that's more convenient for you.
Yeah, well, I've made presentations past midnight before, so yeah.
Yeah, but
Maybe you guys could start an hour earlier, and I could be the first one. Or
Okay.
that
Or,
would help.
I could set it up as a morning meeting, just like,
10
a.m.
Evan Disk
our
does
time
does
is the
lunch
same.
meetings.
10 a.m. our time is the same as the time that Jonathan starts his meetings. There's a 3-hour difference, 2 or 3 hour difference between there. Does that sound acceptable to you? Would you like to?
Yeah,
do
well, 10 a.m. for you is 7 p.m. for me, so that would work.
That would be great, and I'll just email you and
Yeah.
give you the specific. That would be wonderful. Do you think you can do that next our second Tuesday of the next month?
Second Tuesday. Well, if it's late at night, I should be available anyway. May work. Yeah, sure.
all right.
I'll send you specifics. You can let me know.
Mike R at beeswax.net.
That's one. All
Yeah.
right.
Okay. Thank you, everybody.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
See you next month.
All right.
Okay, goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye-bye.